today with another video. For today's video, as you can see, I'm out in the woods. It's so beautiful out today. I want to get into things that have been helping my mental state, but before we get into that, I just want to thank everyone so much because we made it to over 100 subscribers. I know it doesn't sound like much, but I'm very thankful for all the love and support I've been getting in the comment section. And I just love doing this, and having people being able to support me at the same time is really great. So for today's video, I want to be talking about things that have been helping my mental health. I want to become the most healthy person I possibly can be. As you can see, I am out in nature right now. This is one of the main things that I have been finding that have been helping me. As someone who identifies as an empath, this is where I go to escape. I find as though when I walk deeper and deeper into the forest that all my emotions begin to release. A lot of this can be other people's feelings as well that I was holding on to throughout the day. Sometimes when I go for a stroll, I will listen to relaxing music. I have found that the best music to listen to is Minecraft music. I don't know, but whoever was in charge of creating that soundtrack really almost mastered it on a genius level. It just tends to work so well with the wilderness. Other times I will not listen to any music and just bring myself into the moment and look for signs. Sometimes this is a message from my deity or if I asked her a question. To me, this is a really nice time to come out and enjoy the outdoors if you live with the seasons, since there are almost no bugs in the spring. I like to find a nice mossy bedrock and lay down with no disturbances and look up at the sky and watch the trees sway around me. This may sound weird, but sometimes I get this deep, overwhelming feeling that I am loved, and it can sometimes bring tears to my eyes. I don't know if this has to do with me being a green witch, but when it comes to the forest or the earth, it feels as though it heals me. Another thing I have done is I have been getting really into meditation. I'll get more into that later, but I'll look for a spot in the woods like a rock shelf just to meditate and listen to the sounds of nature, and I find this really grounds me. Overall, I just feel as though this supports who I am as a person, strengthens my spirituality, and I feel as though I'm finally making sense of things and finding my place in the world. So yeah, that is one of my favorite things to do to help my mental health. Not everyone is going to be surrounded by big lush forests. I find that ones that are more overgrown and without people are better. But I'll get to my routine, I guess, from start to finish in a way. When I wake up in the morning, I am not always feeling the greatest, I'll admit that. Sometimes I wake up with this anxiety in my chest. Whenever I drink coffee in the morning, it boosts my serotonin. It's crazy because you can look up these statistics online, and coffee does seem to boost your serotonin. Other people say it gives you anxiety, and it used to give me anxiety, but it really does help me. And I'd recommend just trying it and see if it works for you. I also try to take my vitamins in the morning. I be careful what kind of vitamins I take. I only take omega-3s, not the 6s and 9s, because if you watch my plant paradox video, you would know that those aren't good for you. I don't know if those help me, but they make me feel more healthy, and they kind of give me that boost to start the day because I don't have anything nutritious in my system. For everyone that's trying to stay in touch with their craft and you're trying to stay connected to it every day, I don't do spells every day, but I try to incorporate it into my everyday life. I'll sometimes learn about things, but that's for another video. But one of the things that really help my mental health, I put my intention into my coffee every day. I stir it clockwise, not counterclockwise, because that's for getting rid of something. But clockwise is for putting your attention and your manifestations. I just do it for the day. I just say to myself, I take a moment, I stir my coffee clockwise, and I think about what I want to accomplish for the day, and I say it inside my head, and I just take a moment, and then I sip my coffee. I make my way to my deity's altar, Hyket. She is the goddess of witchcraft and the key to all the realms. My last name's Locky, so that's why I chose her. Everything kind of resonated with me, and I have a little conversation with her. It's just a really nice experience, and it really humbles me to a sense of being able to keep my mind open-minded and look for higher powers and ask for their advice on things in life of these people I feel like I can trust, and I put my trust into them, and it just opens my heart to just being vulnerable. I want to back it up for a sec. Before I go downstairs to drink my coffee, I usually wash my face in the morning. Everyone usually does this, it's kind of common sense, but if you don't, I have missed it before, so I can totally understand that. But when I do it, it's not even a witchy ritual thing, but it feels really good to get that cold water and just wash all the like stuff off your face, and you feel really fresh and new to start the day. Another thing that I do, and a lot of the stuff relates to if you're in quarantine, because if you have a job you don't always have time for these things, but I like to just start my morning off on a good foot. Sometimes that's just relaxing myself. Sometimes I just lay in bed and I'll put on something like my favorite show. I'll try find a new movie that I think I would really like. It's really important to find movies that you think you would enjoy in your life, because they really bring life to you. Anyways, I'll put on something like that in the morning, or I'll watch a YouTube video, like a funny one, or I'll incorporate witchcraft into my everyday life by learning something in a video or something like that. And a lot of people say, oh, that's not very productive. But I feel so blessed to be able to live in an age where we're able to just get these things at the touch of a button. Other things that I would do in the day, sometimes I'd read, and I think that's great. I'll get into that in a sec. But sometimes something about just watching something on a TV, there's nothing shameful about that. Too good of a thing sometimes can be bad, obviously, but doing this at certain times to reward yourself or get something started, I find is very helpful. Another thing that I do, I don't think a lot of people know this, but it honestly is helping me so much. I'm so happy I found it. And I thought for the longest time it wasn't possible, but there is a way you can lock your apps on your phone. Not just lock your phone and to keep yourself off your phone, but you can pick certain apps on your phone and lock them. You can lock them to only be able to go on them for a certain amount of time in a day, or you can lock them so that you can only go on them for this time of the day. It's crazy because I was searching for the longest time. I'd search up apps all the time, like, okay, how do I need an app that'll help me stay off other apps, because I wasn't willing to commit to actually just staying off my phone, because I needed it to, sometimes I want to go in my notes, or there's some other apps that are more helpful than others. But there is a thing on your phone, you've probably heard of it, it's called screen time. But if you go on your settings and you go to screen time, you can set it so that certain apps, you can pick which apps you can lock to not go on your phone for a certain amount of time, or you can pick the certain times and stuff. The only apps I actually lock on my phone are Instagram and Twitter. Those are the only apps to me that I find are really toxic and time wasting. Everything else I leave open to just look at. I feel like I can learn things from other apps. Those two, I can't really learn anything from them. They are just a distraction from me paying attention to the thing at hand that I'm doing. So what I do is I lock those apps until, let's say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I can't go on to it till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If I want to go on the apps, here's the thing though, if you're like, no, I have to go on these apps at a certain time, you can press on the app that's locked. You can put in your passcode, and it'll give you an option to be like, okay, I'll just be on this app give me some time to be on this app for 1 hour, or 15 minutes, or sometimes even 1 minute. And you can press it and it'll let you go on the app for that amount of time. You can do whatever you needed to do, and then it'll lock you out again. So you can do that as many times as you want throughout the day. There's no consequences or anything like that. That is just one of the things that I find that is really helpful. Another thing you can do on social media is just follow people that are gonna help you grow. Like, follow people that are like-minded to you. Some people that are gonna lift you up. Then just listen to your body. Think about, like, okay, does this make me feel good or bad? Whenever something just doesn't make you feel good, if you're scrolling through Twitter and you see something from a person all the time that's just making you feel like shit and is not going to be helping you in your journey of life, I would just recommend pressing on that person right away. Just press unfollow. No harm done there. And then at the same time, just find people that are like-minded to you and follow all those people on whatever sites you're on. Another thing I have done recently that has really been helping me out, this is not going to work for everyone. Everyone is completely different. I just want to make that clear. I have been coming off my medication. There's been certain points in my life that I've tried to come off of it, and it hasn't been a good point to come off of it. It's not for everyone to come off their medication, because everyone doesn't like the side effects. But I find that my environment has been very healthy. And as an empath, even as I take small doses of my medication, I am still very sensitive to it. You can read articles online about empaths being sensitive to their medication. and in fact it can turn off your special gifts. And I find that that's what's really what I've been struggling with this whole time, is not even realizing that I've been sucking in so much of other people's energy, and I feel like I can go to places to be alone to recharge me. When I do feel unstable, it's not like I'm completely off my medication, but I do just take doses whenever I feel I'm unstable and I need it. A lot of the times I can't sleep as much anymore, but I've just been sleeping more throughout the day. It is said that it takes 3 weeks for medication to kick in, but with me, I just take it when it's really needed. Like I said, this is not for everyone, but I do find that I'm very sensitive, and even when I go to town, as I get closer to town, I feel more anxiety, and as I go into buildings, I feel a lot more anxiety as I'm darting around, looking around like a lizard. And as I get farther away from town, I feel the anxiety just lift off me. Another thing that's been helping me about becoming off my medication is I've always been a healthy eater. And that was up until I came on my medication, and it makes me crave a lot of shitty food. And as I eat shitty food, it gets me into a shitty mood. And sometimes I'll eat food and it's got me like fucked up. Like I'll be fucked up after eating a certain type of food. But I find when I'm off my medication, I crave things my body wants to make me healthy. Like I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, I crave carrots. I'm not trying to flex or anything. Like I said, do not come off your medication just because you want to be skinnier. I'm not doing it for any type of any way I want to look or anything like that. I'm doing it for staying healthy, and I think that's the best way to actually help yourself look more healthy, is just saying I want to be healthy. Another thing I do, this is a big one, I try to meditate as much as possible. I find the more you do this, the more you are able to relax yourself and be patient in settings that are very still. An example would be like if you're waiting in line, and it just teaches you to be patient, and it almost gives you that moment to just meditate and just stay in the moment and just let your mind be its own safe haven. A lot of the sounds I like to meditate to, or I would really recommend, is Tibetan bowls. I think that's how it's pronounced. I always listen to this sound. I never found that any other noise seems to like work just as well, but when I listen to Tibetan bowl sounds, it's mostly the feeling I feel in my head. It feels as though my crown chakra is going upwards, and I feel a focus in my brain. I do this when I'm in a bad mood, and all my pain, it just seems to, everything that's clustered in my mind seems to just all kind of go to this one focal point, and I can concentrate and my mind becomes clear. Another sound I recommend is theta waves, or HC binaural beats, I think that's what it's called. I just recently found this out. I tried it the other day. It is amazing. I'll get into that, what I experienced. But it's a different feeling when I do that, because I feel it in my whole body. It's almost like my whole body just vibrates, and I feel a vibration through my body. And with the Tibetan bowls, I actually made a painting about this. I'll show you what I feel when I meditate with Tibetan bowls is with the crown chakra. I was saying it goes up. It actually feels as though my mind is like a lava lamp, and I can feel it going upwards, just going upwards and projecting into the sky. And yeah, that's what it feels like. But it's crazy, because what I was saying, yesterday I was listening to the theta waves to meditate to, and I didn't feel like meditating. I felt like crawling up into a ball. I felt like curling my body up. I fought through the urge, and I grounded myself. I perched my body up. What? And I just listened to the noise, and I felt this feeling come over me, and my heart felt like it was almost a blockage, and I just kept listening to it. But I sat through the experience, and I was carrying a lot in my heart that day. I started like laughing, and then also kind of like trying to cry at the same time, but nothing was coming. And I let myself do that. I wasn't focusing on a focal point in my mind. I was just kind of doing that, and also listening to the sounds of the theta waves, and and I started letting out these noises and it was almost like I was crying, but I was also laughing at the same time, and my whole body was just vibrating at this weird frequency. It felt good. It was almost like I was being spoken to in another way I couldn't be spoken to, and I was letting all that out in a safe space. I have meditated before when I'm in bad moods, and I find when I do, it's always the best experience because I feel it just releasing in me, but this was a big release overall. But yeah, I would really recommend doing it when you are not feeling that great. And it's really strange because we can lay in bed on our backs and stare at the ceiling and think and think and think, and it puts us in the worst mood. But if we like align our bodies and sit up straight, and I don't know, it's almost like it just is like a conversation that is being spoken to us that we cannot explain, that just helps so much. And so that's just one of the things that have really been helping me. Overall, for meditation, I don't think it has to be a big serious thing. I find when I do meditation, there's many different ways that I do meditate. Sometimes, like, say yesterday when I was meditating, I was moving my hands around and I was feeling the energy around me. Call me crazy. But it felt so good. I think meditation is the best way to do it. Whatever feels the best. Whatever feels the best is the right way. It doesn't always have to be clearing your mind. It's good to sometimes strengthen that. Like if you want to find a focal point, say there's different types of meditation. Like sometimes you just want to strengthen your focus. Other times you want to drift away to a faraway land and almost be your own narrator and just like take you to like a beautiful beach or something. And then other times you're just feeling the energy around you. So that's what I find really helps. And if you're an empath like me, I would highly recommend meditating as much as you possibly can. And also, I want to talk about this more, but also watching ASMR, it really helps too if you're an empath or just anyone. A thing that really helps out with me while I'm doing all these activities or anything else I'm doing throughout the day is I put on nice smells. If I'm working on something, like say I'm painting, that's what I'm trying to do for work, or I'm just like trying to learn something, I will put on a candle that smells really good. I will put on a vaporizer with essential oils. I'll put on as incense, and it almost keeps my mind stimulated in the sense of like, it's almost like you're hungry and you wanting to eat at the same time, except it just like, it fills the room with just so much like fullness and stuff. It just makes me feel so much better. Another thing that I do is I have this essential oil that smells so divine, so good. It's called like Angel Healing or something. I got it from some witch store. I can't remember where it's from. I can't even describe what it smells like, but it smells exactly what the title, what it's called. And I put it on my wrists, and before I go to bed sometimes or throughout the day, I actually have some on right now. It's kind of wearing down a little bit, but it smells so good. And I just smell it, and it brings me peace. It actually brings me like peace. Like it makes me like I'm always like, oh. Like, you know that movie, that commercial with the Jif peanut butter when they're like, it's like eating peanut butter for the first time. That's what it's like when I smell this on my wrist every time. I'm like taken back, like, holy fuck. Like, so yeah, that's another thing I do. Another thing that helps so much, like I mentioned before, it's the closest thing you can get to a massage. A lot of people don't like it. I think you just haven't found your favorite kind yet. But listening to ASMR, if I'm stressed out, if I'm really stressed out, that's what I do. If I can't fall asleep, that's what I listen to. I put headphones on. That's the best way I experience it. And it calms me down. Not all the time. Sometimes ASMR doesn't calm me down. Sometimes it kind of like annoys me sometimes. But I still say try it out as much as you can. I'd recommend this for people that are really stressed out. Just listen to it as much as possible, especially if you're an empath too. Another thing that I do, sometimes I forget to breathe. I find that just being able to, sometimes if I just sit still and I just think about my breathing in certain moments, it really helps me out. It sounds corny, but it really does. Another thing to do, especially if you're struggling and you're looking for ways to help yourself, is venting in some sort of way. One of the main ways I do that is through journaling. I'll just write down my thoughts. I've heard this TikTok about, I haven't tried it yet. It's called therapeutic writing. where you pick a certain focal point and you write to a person or a mental illness or like a certain like problem in the world or something, and you just write and write and write almost without thinking at all to this person, and you just write as fast as you possibly can, and it's supposed to be really healthy for you, so I'd recommend that. It sounds really good. Another thing I do, sounds crazy, I talk to myself out loud. Not all the time. Sometimes I only do this if I'm trying to fix a problem inside myself, or if I'm joking around with myself. I'll make jokes with myself throughout the day. That's another way to incorporate shadow work. It kind of makes you kind of figure out who you are as a person. I don't always talk to myself out loud though, because sometimes the talking can just kind of be, it's not useful. It kind of just becomes negative talk or something like that, so I don't always like to do that. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna live inside my head rent-free or whatever. Another thing I do I think is really important is sometimes it's nice to just say nice things to yourself. Just look in the mirror and say, oh, I love you in some sort of way. Any way you want. You can be realistic as you possibly want or as unimaginable as you want. That sounds ridiculous, but you can just be crazy. Another way of doing this is manifestations. When you can do this in your journal. What I do before I write in my journal, I'll write, okay, my manifestation is blah 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 blah, and then I write the rest of my journal, whatever, for my entry, and that really helps me out. Sometimes it's good to say manifestations to your deity or out loud, whatever you think. I see TikToks about it all the time. It's really hard to miss of like different ways you can manifest things like numbers and stuff like that, but it really helps. Another thing that I do is probably because I came from the sea and I'm a sea creature or something like that, or I don't know, I'm trying to figure out what kind of animal I probably was in my past life, but I love water. I love water. I take baths all the time. I'm really trying to cut down. I have a hot tub. I can't use it in the summertime, but I take baths all the time. I sometimes just, I fill it up halfway so I'm not using up too much water, and I'll sit in the bath and it's really therapeutic for me. Water is so therapeutic for me. I love rain. I find when it rains, I feel cleansed in a certain way. Yeah, that's just for me. I take lots of baths. Oh, and use Epsom salt when you bath, because that's supposed to really help too. Also, reading really helps me out. I really love reading. Even though I don't really like reading, I still really love reading. And if I make myself read, I feel good. My mind feels clear and sharp, and even if my mind drifts sometimes in my book, I try not to make it a big deal and I'll just back it up in the sentences. Another thing that I'm not mentioning that's really obvious is working out. I'm not really one for working out. I don't like doing it, but what I do is I try to keep my energy going throughout the day. I try to, like, getting up and moving around tends to just put me in a better mood. I'm a very, like, hyper spastic person sometimes, and I'll just run up and down the stairs to, like, say I'm getting something done and I'm like doing errands around the house and I have to grab something, so now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna run from this place and run all the way back to this place, and it really keeps my heartbeat going. Like, I'll run up and down the stairs really fast. Another thing I do to keep myself active is I clean throughout the day. So as I'm doing things throughout the day, I don't leave my mess to the very few days later or till the end of the day. I clean as I go. Or sometimes I'll make a big day of just cleaning, and it really makes me feel good. I love organizing things and stuff like that, and I put up a sweat and it puts me in a better mood. Other than that, sometimes I'll just listen to music and dance around. Yeah. Another thing that I do, I don't really do this, so I kind of sound like a hypocrite, but I do find when I do this, I feel better. So try getting enough sleep. Just try get enough sleep. Overall, that is pretty much the main things I do in my day. Not every day. I pick and choose these throughout the day. Some of them are easier to do than others. And to keep myself happy. Another thing I do to keep myself organized to remember these things is I have a note in my phone, and I check it off throughout the day of things I've done to make sure I keep these things in my life. Hi, I just wanted to add a few more things that I forgot to mention. Another thing that I like to do to help me relax is I hang out with my pets. If I make them happy, that makes me very happy. Loving them, really lets out some of that energy that I hold inside. They give me that space to be as mushy as possible. I can be as silly as I want with them. And another thing that I do to help my mental state is, this usually helps when I'm really angry, but playing zombie shooting games. Really, I was just playing one. It's so fun to do. I remember coming home from a long hard day and I would put on a zombie game, and it doesn't take a lot of concentration. You're just mass shooting, mass murdering a ton of people. And the last and the biggest thing that seems to help your mental health is having people around you that are healthy and you can be yourself around. Because people like to say happiness is a choice, but usually those people that say those types of things are the ones that are surrounded by people all the time, and it can be very hard to live in your own thoughts all the time. So yeah, just take it easy. Go out there. The world is not as bad as it looks on the internet, so I promise you there are people out there who are thinking the exact same thing. Ignore that I'm in a bra right now, but she is just overflowing with love right now. I just feel all her love pouring into me. And she wants to be held like a little infant. She's kneading my arm. I love you. Yes. Her biting is her love language. My little Yoshi. Other things you can do that I don't do but I think would keep you healthy. Stretching, I used to do this with my boyfriend all the time. I don't do it as much, but it really keeps your blood flowing and I want to incorporate it into my later routine. Drinking tea, this really helps for people that get jittery when they drink coffee, and also herbs really help you out. I've heard of microdosing. I think this is like a plan Z for things to try. I get really sensitive to drugs. But I want to kind of try this one day. I see it all over TikTok. I really want to try microdosing one day. Working out, yeah. Doing yoga. Yoga is not just a more elite way of working out, I would find. It's also like stretching incorporated in a way. Stay away from toxic people. Yeah, it's sometimes really hard to ignore people in your life that are toxic, especially if they're your family members. But if you have friends that are toxic, I just say cut them out of your life. It takes a lot of bravery, but sometimes it's even better just to be by yourself too. Another big thing that if you have a lot of big problems, a lot of these things will not always help at the end of the day, so I would recommend therapy. And every therapist is not going to help you out. I know this because I didn't like my therapist that much, so find the right therapist for you. And I just want to say, if you have a shitty job, this is going to be a lot harder for you. The system is fucking corrupted, and if it takes up a lot of hours in your week, this is just going to be a lot harder, but please just take it easy on yourself. And also, that being said, I have realized that putting your best into things literally means, most of the time, putting more time into things. So if you want to do more things in your life and become enough of who you are, you literally have to have enough time and also have to put more time into that whatever you're doing. So if you want to be really good at something, you have to put more time into that thing, and it's really hard if you want to juggle everything too. So take it easy on yourself and just remember that. But yeah, that is the end of the video. The sun is going down, my phone is dying, but I'm just so happy that I did this video because it put me in such a great mood and it really cleared my head of some things. But yeah, leave a comment down below if this helped you or if you know another thing that could help you out. Also leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!